Did you say utes?
Yeah, 2 utes.
What is a ute?
Excuse me, Your Honor. 2 youths.
In Rocky Balboa, Sylvester Stallone mentions in his DVD commentary that some of Rocky's conversations with Marie were improvised. For example, during the scene where Rocky installs a light bulb, Stallone didn't know it would be so bright, so his reaction to the bright light is completely real.
Yikes. Bingo.
In Raiders of the Lost Ark, the legendary Cairo swordsman scene is one of the most famous in all movies. According to DVD commentary, Harrison Ford had become horribly sick and was feeling too ill to shoot the highly elaborate sword versus whip fight, so he suggested Indy just shoot the bastard and the rest is history.
Mikey?
In Men in Black, the scene where Mikey gets killed at the beginning wasn't planned. The creators added it because they realized people would have felt sorry for Mikey if he died without any buildup. They wanted to make sure there was no sympathy for him before he was killed. In Live and Let Die, Bond was supposed to escape using a boat. However, the farm's owner, Ross Kananga, showed the crew how he could run across the backs of crocodiles. Everyone agreed this was too awesome to leave out, so they included it in the movie. In Die Hard 2, the original script had McClane saying, "Hey Colonel, happy fucking New Year," while igniting the kerosene. Instead, Bruce Willis said,
"Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker."
It's unclear if Willis did this on purpose, but director Rennie Harlan liked the callback to the first movie and thought it was better.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
In Ferris Bueller's Day Off, the shot of Ferris playing the clarinet was improvised. Someone noticed the clarinet on set, and Matthew Broderick claimed he could play it, even though he couldn't.
Never had one lesson.
In Gladiator, Ridley Scott said that the opening scene where Maximus ponders a bird before the battle was improvised with Russell Crowe. They needed to introduce Maximus before the battle, but had no scripted dialogue. In Grease, Rizzo was originally supposed to throw her milkshake at Frenchie, revealing her pink hair. However, Stockard Channing threw it at Jeff Conaway instead because she was annoyed with him at the time. She kept throwing it at him in subsequent takes, and this version ended up in the final scene.
To you from me, Pinky Lee!
In the movie Airplane, the scene with the hysterical woman was initially meant to show her being slapped once by a male passenger. However, actress Lee Bryant suggested making it funnier by having her slapped multiple times by unexpected characters like a doctor or a nun.
Everything's gonna be all right.
The producers liked her idea and extended the scene to include various passengers with increasingly outrageous weapons. In Star Wars: A New Hope, the funny scene where Chewbacca scares a nervous mouse droid was improvised on set and wasn't in the script. Director George Lucas wanted to cut the scene, but his wife insisted on keeping it in the movie. In Titanic, the script had Old Rose saying, "Wasn't I a hot number?" when she sees the drawing. Gloria Stewart refused to say it, thinking it was too vulgar. When director James Cameron asked for her suggestion, she came up with,
"It is me, dear. Wasn't I a dish?"
In My Cousin Vinny, the director, an Englishman, got confused by Joe Pesci's Brooklyn-accented pronunciation of youth. After Pesci explained it, they realized their conversation should be in the film.
Is it possible the 2 youths?
To what? What was that word?
The famous 2 Utes scene between Vinny and Judge Haller is almost exactly what Pesci and the director said to each other.
Did you say utes?
Yeah, 2 youths.
What is a ute?
2 youths.
In Speed, the scene where Annie pretends to put gum on her seat to move away from the obnoxious Stevens was improvised by Sandra Bullock.
You know what? I got gum on my seat.
And in another scene, it was Dennis Hopper's idea to stick his fingers in Jeff Daniels' nose to lift him up.
Peter!
Yeah? Oh, sorry.
Did you mean that?
In Spider-Man No Way Home, Tom Holland confirmed that the 3 Spider-Men pointing at each other was Andrew Garfield's idea. Garfield noted that the scene was initially meant to be shorter and more sardonic, but he changed it because he thought the moment was adorable.
Same again, we're all...
In The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, the line,
No parent should have to bury their child.
wasn't in the book. Bernard Hill added it, inspired by a woman who had just lost her own child, and said the same thing.
No parent should have to bury their child.
In Who Framed Roger Rabbit, there's a funny scene where a cartoon pelican falls off his real bike. This wasn't planned. They had trouble balancing the bike, so they decided to have him fall off.
Oh, excuse me.
In the next shot, you see him on the ground, covered by a mailbag. In Men in Black 2, rapper Biz Markie was visiting Will Smith on set, and they were beatboxing together. Director Barry Sonnenfeld saw this, loved it, and decided to put Markie in the post office scene as an alien. The part where Jay speaks to him in his native language is really just their beatbox routine. In Back to the Future, during the Mr. Sandman sequence, when Marty sees the 1955 Texaco gas station, there was originally just one attendant working on a car. Director Robert Zemeckis thought it would be funnier with more attendants, so he had the costume department find 3 more attendant costumes. In Animal House, Verna Bloom said that her scene with Dean Wormer, where she is drunk and he is on the phone with the mayor, was completely improvised.
My fault? For Christ's sake, Carmine, how the hell can it be my fault?
Director John Landis was unhappy with the original script dialogue, so they made it up on the spot. In Red State, during the scene where Cheyenne tells the 3 girls to hide in the attic, the baby starts screaming.
Okay.
This wasn't in the script, and they had tried to prevent it from happening. However, both Smith and Klein thought it worked well, and with Klein's permission, they kept it in the movie.
You do it right now.
In Vanilla Sky, Steven Spielberg's cameo wasn't planned. He was on set to talk to Tom Cruise about their upcoming project Minority Report and was standing off camera during shooting. Director Cameron Crowe noticed how Spielberg was watching the scene and quietly told Spielberg to get in there, and his dialogue was improvised.
Happy birthday, you son of a bitch. Happy birthday.
In Home Alone, Ken Campbell, who played Santa, couldn't drive a stick shift and practiced a lot. On the first take, he drove away but forgot to turn on the lights, so they made him do it again. The second time, the car stalled and he swore. It was so funny that they decided to leave it in the movie. In Rebel Without a Cause, the opening scene in the movie with Jim Stark and the toy monkey was improvised by James Dean after the production had been shooting for nearly 24 hours straight. He asked Nicholas Ray to roll the camera, that he wanted to do something. Ray obliged, and the improvisation went on to become the famous opening scene. In The Wild Bunch, the famous last walk scene was improvised by Sam Peckinpah. Originally, the scene was supposed to cut straight from the bunch leaving the whorehouse to the confrontation with Mapache. Peckinpah decided to lengthen it, and the assistant directors choreographed many of the Mexican extras during filming.